So Canada is simultaneously blocking the actual use of the mechanism for use by Biolyse. At the same time, it's touting its effectiveness in the World Trade Organization along with other countries. So Canada has continued to challenge the TRIPS waiver procedure, and is argued, as has the European Union, that the existing TRIPS flexibilities are sufficient to deal with the problem of overcoming intellectual property barriers to the products, and has even touted its own existing law, saying that it's a good example of a mechanism that can work and that it has worked once in the case of Apotex back, 13 years ago. But Canada only has to look in the mirror to see how disingenuous its position is, where it refuses to amend the list of COVID products that could be imported at this time, thereby directly undermining the ineffectiveness of the Article 31 bis mechanism in the current crisis. So there's many ways why Article 31 bis is not well suited for use to respond to the COVID pandemic. There are, of course, multiple notifications that are required from the importing country about its intent to import and its lack of manufacturing capacity. Least developed countries don't have to prove that lack of capacity, but other countries that are not least developed countries need to do so. The exporter must also provide multiple forms of information about itself, the license, the product, the countries receiving imports, the quantities to be exported, required product differentiation, and also create a website that contains required information. If there's a patent in the importing country, a compulsory license has to be issued. If there's a patent in the exporting country, there has to be a compulsory license issued. And so, there's multiple compulsory licenses required. And just as a note, multiple countries have not adopted Article 31 bis procedures into the national law at this time. But this product by product and country by country requirement presents a procedural nightmare and requires truly mountains of paperwork. The Article 31 bis requirements have to be met on a product by product and country by country basis. Although Article 31 bis does directly reference that it's available for active and pharmaceutical ingredients and finished products, it may not be possible to use it for all of the other components that are needed in the manufacture of a COVID vaccine, of which there are over 200 components in some and manufactured in 18 different countries. To meet the needs of the over 100 countries in the world that lack sufficient manufacturing capacity would require huge amounts of work in all of those countries, so multiple licenses for export and import. You can just imagine the multiplication of effort that's required. And of course, to incentivize generic entry, you need a sufficient market size so that the market seems attractive to not just one generic entrant, but hopefully multiple generic entrants who would have a viable and sustainable market. And even after the intellectual property, in this case, the patent barriers are overcome, there's still regulatory barriers that must be met. Felipe already did a good job to point out that Article 31 bis, and in fact, compulsory licensing as we know now, is not well suited to address all of the intellectual property barriers that impact access, particularly to vaccines and biologic products. It does not address data exclusivity. It does not address trade secrets. And many countries, at least richer countries, have also opted out of use of Article 31 bis. So unless these additional barriers are also addressed, relying on Article 31 bis alone will not suffice. And of course, that's one of the advantages of the waiver proposal, is that it does directly address additional barriers beyond just patents. The proponents wisely chose to address both trade secrets and also copyrights and industrial designs, which affect other COVID products. The EU, in particular, is touting bogus clarifications of Article 31 bis that are actually quite clear under existing law. But the main problem is that Article 31 bis is simply not fit for purpose in the COVID pandemic, and just it creates too many procedural barriers to effective use.